kind of stuff that I'm writing about. It's less about me, more about everything else. The world becomes a bigger place the more you understand it. And then the more you understand it, the more you realize you don't understand. And like it just goes deeper and deeper.
Each time I talk with an artist based out of somewhere in Australia, my picture of what the country's many scenes look like becomes more clear. Most recently, I've been hearing a bit about what's going on right now in Lismore, and that happens to be the place the recording project, Earth to Josh, calls home. After years of writing, studying, and deep critical thought, Josh finally released his debut album on November 27th. Still in the habit of writing a song a week, Josh uses writing to process his exchange with the world around him. If life was a call, this album would be his response. And its title? Josh to Earth. And it's kind of almost a burning question. You're based out of Lismore, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I've heard a little bit about this sort of like psych renaissance that's reportedly happening there at the moment. Like it's kind of like a community that's pretty recent and tight knit. A lot of good going on right now in terms of music. And like, does that sound right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. And so I guess like, how involved are you? Where do you see yourself within it? That sort of thing.
Well, we all try to help out, I feel like, as much as we can. Like we all show up to each other's shows. We all like help each other set up the PA, organize, play each other's bands. Like, like we all try to help each other out. It's just kind of like, it's just better, like for everyone really. It's like just, you create a scene of your own. It's something to dive into for everyone as well. Like you just see like the Perth scene, over there with like, Pond, Tame Impala, all that, like they're all playing each other's bands and everything. It's like, that's cool. People dig that. So it's like, why can't we just do it here,
Yeah. Do you think like influences rub off as well? Like I'm sure collaborations happen and things like that, but do you think that like other musicians have sort of rubbed off on you and vice versa?
Yeah, for sure. Well, they've definitely like introduced me to things I haven't heard before. It's really funny though, like not even knowing these people, we all just kind of converged in this place. Like I moved here being like, oh, it's a nice spot. It's got good surf and good, water and food. And like, there's clearly a little bit of a scene going on with Byron. Like I saw bands like Babe Rainbow coming out of this area and I was like, they're doing something cool. And it's not in the city. I'm not really a city person. So I was like, okay, that's kind of maybe the next best thing for me. So I moved here and then ended up moving here and doing uni with like that's how I met heaps of mates here. We went to Southern Cross University and yeah, basically everyone was just into psych rock and everyone was just in psych rock bands and it was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like
that's cool.
Yeah, where I grew up, it's just like, I didn't even know really anyone playing music, let alone like the music I listened to and loved, and it just happened to be, I think it was luck or I don't know what it was. It's cool.
Yeah. So nice when it comes together like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't complain, eh?
Okay, so I want to talk about the album a little bit. It's called Josh to Earth. It's out November 27th. And it's your first album, but I understand it took quite some time to come together. Is that right?
Yeah, it's been a long process. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this might just be Spotify, but I was noticing that you like had some singles in 2019 and then like nothing for almost 5 years, and now we have this. And so like I guess like what was going on in those 5 years?
Well, so much. It was just like I always wanted to do it right, like I always wanted to release music to an audience, to people, have a live band going on, do it properly, have the music videos, like and I guess in 2019 when I was living in Rockhampton, like where I grew up, there was just no other people really that were doing it, and like there was no scene and there was no like videographers. Like just it was just a bit hard to kind of do it just like purely on your own kind of thing. and I just knew that it wasn't really the right time to. Well, I had an album of those singles that I released in 2019. Like I had a whole album there of in
Okay.
that made at that time, and I was like, for some reason, I just never ended up dropping it because it was like I don't think it was really going to go to anyone. In hindsight, maybe I should have just got rid of it, but yeah, it's still sitting there. But I think I just waited until the right time that I knew like I wanted to have a live band. I wanted to be playing shows when everything was coming out. I just feel like it would be,
Mm.
all at once, have everything ready, catch people off guard kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, like studying at uni as well, like I just didn't really want to like release stuff while I was like studying at uni. But the
Fair.
whole time pretty much I'm always writing tunes. Like I make a song a week, and I have been for the last 5 years. So
Wow.
it's just, it's
Yeah.
you're just collecting and you're like learning. Your taste changes so much over time, and like the way you record things as well. You might love a song, but be like that. That recording's just not going to do. Like,
Yeah.
or it might be fine then, and then the next year you're like you've leveled up and you can't. It doesn't match. So it's been a bit of a weird one to kind of collect songs together into a project,
Mm.
especially like a lot of these, even the songs on this project, like there's songs that are like 3 years old on the project, like that were mixed and recorded 3 years ago
Wow.
as well. So it's been a bit weird to kind of put it all into one. It does feel like it belongs, but it's also like funny how many different eras there kind of were
Yeah.
throughout it. Yeah.
So you're writing basically a song a week for 5 years, and some of these songs are very old. And so when it came time to like sit down and figure out what was going to be on this album, like that seems like a lot to sift through. And so like, what did that process look like?
Oh, that was one of the hardest parts of the whole thing for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Pretty much. The reason it also took so long is just kind of like if a song still resonated with me a year later, it was like, okay,
Mhm.
like that's a real song. That's a song that
Okay.
you can kind of feel like after a year of not listening to something and coming back to it, or just even like remembering it or humming it, and you haven't listened to it in a year, you're like,
Hmm.
well, okay, like that's must be something.
Yeah.
So giving it that little time buffer was kind of good in a way. Like I might not do it again, probably won't do it again, but like having that buffer was actually pretty cool to throw things at the wall and see what really sticks.
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole process of what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so, and now, after all these years, what are we like, not even 2 weeks away from a release. So that's got to be, I mean, what does that feel like? You had that album in the past and you kind of held off on putting it out. And so now you're actually doing it. Are you like stressed at all? Is there any stress associated with it?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. But
Okay.
it's kind of like at this point it's 2 weeks out. I've done everything I can. So it's kind of like there's maybe a little bit of stuff I can do in the next 2 weeks, but like
Right.
it's all been the preparation for however long. So it's whatever I've done. I'm just gonna roll with that. There's no point stressing too hard about it.
Fair. Yeah, and I was like reading on like the press release for this album that it came together, there all these years, and so yes, you were busy and you were writing music and stuff, but it was also like I think I was reading introspection, musical exploration, things like that, and it's all part of this sort of bigger journey toward basically like understanding the world around you. And so, how would you say that your music helps you do that? I know it can definitely be like an outlet for some people.
Mm. Well, it's just how I get emotions and thoughts like out of my head when it feel
Mm,
when you feel all cooped up and you kind of like something's wrong. I don't know what it is. Like, or something's happened and you just need to like it's journaling really. Like it's just getting it out of your head and onto paper. Like that's just what it is for me, really. Like whether it's lyrically or just a song, like just having a strum, like that can also be it just in a different language, really.
hmm.
It's really funny, like I'll sometimes I'll write things or like finish a song and then a month later or a year later I'll understand what it was.
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't ever go into it being like, oh, I'm gonna write this song right now. It's just
Yeah.
the feeling that's like trapped within me that I have to get out. And yeah, sometimes much later on I'll understand what it really was.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's funny.
Do you journal as well? Just purely just like, stream of consciousness?
Probably should. I don't.
Yeah, who
Probably
knows?
should.
It might aid in the songwriting process, at least for lyrics.
Yeah, yeah, maybe does.
Yeah. And so I was looking at this. You got some shows coming up. When you play shows, you play as a band. You have a four piece. But when you write and record, so is it all you, or is there some collaboration there?
No, it's all me. Recording, mixing, just do everything in my little studio room.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people, even like at your stage, have a lot of help with doing that stuff. You have, assuming you have like some access to these things, being from such like a vibrant scene. Is
Mm.
it really important to you to like do it all yourself, or is it just kind of like how you've always done it?
Um, I like doing both, not
Okay.
with this project though. Like this is kind of the project I already had going on when I was isolated, when I had just me.
Got it. Okay.
It's another reason it's kind of called Earth to Josh. I was quite dissociated, I was in my little studio room with no one else and it was just me and it was the only way I could get anything I wanted heard by anyone.
Mm. Yeah.
That's just kind of what the project started out being, and then I've just tried to kind of continue that through. But like I definitely like I wrote like we did two songs with two other mates yesterday, just for shits and gigs. Like
Cool. Yeah.
that was fun. Always trying to like collaborate and make something new. You always do make something new. It's always fun, and I don't know what to do with it currently. We'll figure that out when we come to it. But yeah, like just with this project, I try to keep it what it was.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, are you a part of any other projects, or is that on the horizon? Maybe.
I play drums for my mate Schluffy.
Okay.
He makes like kind of like psych psych neo soul funk kind of stuff. It's like 70s kind of inspired, so that's always like super fun to play on the
Yeah.
kit. Just really
I'm sure.
groovy. Yeah, that's real fun. So I enjoy that. He plays bass for me in my band, so we kind of help each
Oh,
other out.
yeah, nice. Yeah, a little give and take.
Yeah,
I was mentioning like shows you have coming up. You played a few shows recently. Just the other day, I think a couple days ago at the time we're recording this, played a show with Zia from the Dandy Warhols.
yeah.
So I mean, Dandy Warhol is such an important like indie band, still are in a lot of ways.
Totally.
I'm curious, like, do you listen to them at all? Are they like, have they been an influence to you?
Um, Not particularly been an influence, but
Okay.
like obviously being someone that I'm being obviously very aware of,
Yeah.
it's just kind of contributed to psych music over the years. It's everyone has their part to play, and that's why it is the way it is today. It always
Yeah.
everyone grabs bits and pieces from someone else. It's just kind of how music works, but that's the cool part about it as well. Because you might really like, I might really be into this other person and then not realize that they're actually a big Dandy Warhols fan or something, and then I'm like, oh, that's actually what it was.
Right.
Or it's just funny how it all filters through.
No, it's true. Yeah, and I know like Brian Jonestown Massacre was a big influence for them when they were first starting
Yeah,
out, and so like yeah,
yeah,
it all filters through because you can see some of that in their music as
for
well.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's cool. They're great too.
yeah,
She was lovely to meet, so it was cool.
yeah. That's awesome. I would have loved to do that. The most recent press release also listed bands. Just while I mentioned influences real quick, listed bands like Hockey Dad, Kings of Leon, Tame Impala as influences on this record. I'm curious though, are there any more that like after you give it a listen or something that you can kind of see like, oh, like I hear a little bit of that band too? Is there any of that going on?
Oh, definitely. Coldplay for sure. That's
Mm,
something that I kind of grew up, like mum was playing it in the car when I was a kid. So it's kind
yeah,
of like that was always around. So that's obviously something. It's same thing. It's like everything you listen to at any point, like it filters through in some way and it's not really ever conscious. It's just kind of like the palate that you've had, or, same as food, maybe, you've
yeah,
grown up eating a certain type of food and then you've got that palate now. I don't know.
yeah.
It's interesting kind of like getting to this finalization stage and like showing mates and stuff, and then they'll say like, oh, I hear this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
oh I can't remember exactly. There's a few different ones that people were saying, and I was like, oh, I didn't really think of that. But there's definitely a bunch that is gone into it. I'm not really aware, you know.
Yeah, then that's the thing too about like when you release music, it then like whoever listens to it, it sort of becomes theirs in a sense as they like, get their own idea of it.
Mm.
Is it something that you're excited for people to sort of put their own meaning into your journal entries in a sense?
Yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah.
really interesting. I'm
Yeah.
super keen. It's gonna be super, super interesting. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll ask just one more question here. We talked earlier and just sort of been talking around it. The album, it took a while to make, about 5 years. A lot can happen over the course of that time. So, like when you reflect 5 years ago to now, what do you think is like the biggest transformation that's happened in your music?
Oh, there's there's a bunch of different aspects, like
Mm.
the production and the mixing for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been learning. I've had no really like, I've had a little bit of formal training, but like
Okay.
the thing that I've really learned from it is just trial and error. Like
Mm.
you only get better at writing a song by writing songs, or you only get better at mixing songs by mixing songs. Like
Right.
the more you do it, you get better at it. So it's kind of been like just a process of continually like turning the wheel and, you get greasing it up,
Yeah.
But as a person, the kind of stuff that I'm writing about, it's less about me, more about everything else. The world becomes a bigger place the more you understand it.
Yeah.
And then the more you understand it, the more you realize you don't understand. And like it just goes deeper and deeper. And it's definitely been a big journey, especially like the past 5 years. And I think that's and like another reason for like the title, like Josh to Earth. It's obviously a play on words, but it's
Mhm.
like it's me getting out of that disassociated state into like into my falling into myself, into like who I actually am. Like I'm becoming over those 5 years grounded in who I am.
Mhm.
I was always me, obviously, but it's like you're sometimes unsure. And I think now I'm sure. And it's just taken a while to really, yeah, really be sure. And I feel like that's a very common thing. Everyone has to kind of do that, when growing up.
Yeah. So actually, one more. Just as you've been talking, do you see continuing to have the same relationship with music, or are you kind of noticing like a shift?
I definitely it depends what period of like writing or it depends what period I'm kind of in. If I'm in the mixing stage, like I'm not listening to any music. Like I can't. Like when you're working on something for 12 hours straight, like every day, the last thing you do is want to do is just put on music. But it's like also you need to as well. And you should also want to because like what made you want to do this in the first place? You got to be inspired. So it's like yeah, you got to ride that fine line, love, of like you got to love it as you're doing it. You got to love it because
Mhm.
like you'll be able to hear that. I reckon
Yeah.
if you're enjoying the song as you're making the song, like you're gonna feel that for sure. So it's funny how the relationship does this, and it's just kind of trying to steer it nicely as you go. But yeah, it's a funny one. I try to always like nowadays pick up production stuff. Like I can't really unhear that now.
Yeah.
Like if I'm ever hearing a song, I'm always like, that snare is just like amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes you got to switch back into like just taking it as it comes, like as a whole song, like stepping back out of it instead of getting so detail orientated, which is like also why it's really cool to show songs off the record to say like my parents or something,
Mm.
which just have a consumer ear,
Mm.
and that's a really important. I think that's a really important, probably the most important way to look at it. I think like it's just
Yeah.
as does this song feel good? Does it not feel good? So it's going to be interesting to see like putting the album out into the world and seeing how each song performs because there might be one song that I've even maybe overlooked that it's the one for people or like don't know. So it'd be
Sure.
interesting to find that out.
I know Josh to Earth came out over a month ago now, so my sincerest apologies if you're only just now discovering this great artist. I love finding new music when it's fresh, so I understand, but better late than never. Many thanks to Josh for his time, and this is the last time I'll say Josh in this interview. Check out Earth to Josh anywhere you stream music if you want to hear more of what you're hearing right now. Lastly, if you enjoyed this chat, I have good news. There are many more like it. Go to youngsteryear.com for the full archive, plus more good things like articles, and that's about it. But thank you so much for listening. We'll be back soon with more.